Hello, Northside community members, voters, staff, and parents. I bring an important message to you about a school bond election in May. The bond addresses the growth in Northside schools as well as renovating aging schools. Since 1995, NISD has held a bond election every 3 years. The last one we put before the voters was in 2010. This time around, we were able to stretch to 4 years. I invite you to watch the following video about School Bond 2014 so you can make an informed vote in May. Thank you for your time.
Hi, I'm Lori Salazar with Northside ISD. Northside is proposing a school bond issue for $648.34 million. School Bond 2014 addresses the addition of new schools to manage continuing growth and renovating existing schools to meet curriculum requirements. In fact, the majority of the proposal renovates existing older neighborhood schools. But before Election Day on May 10th, let's learn the facts. We have all seen the growth when driving around Northwest San Antonio these past few years. And aside from the increased traffic and congestion, there are new businesses and giant commercial centers. There are also hundreds of new neighborhoods, thousands of new houses, thousands of families, and new schools. As a result, Northside enrollment has continued to grow by more than 2,000 students every year. That's because half of all new homes built in Bexar County are located in Northside.
Quizzes.
Now, did you know that Northside grows by 2 to 3 classrooms every week? In fact, NISD just surpassed 101,000 students. And at the end of the 4-year bond, about 8,000 more students will call Northside home. This will raise the total enrollment to almost 110,000 students by 2018. Northside is the 4th largest school district in Texas. It's certainly the largest in the San Antonio Metroplex. What a stark contrast to NISD's humble beginnings in 1949. That's when farmers and ranchers from 11 schools joined to form what we now know as Northside ISD. And just like then, NISD continues to draw thousands of families looking for high-quality schools in attractive neighborhoods. In addition to the growth and need for more classrooms, many Northside aging schools need continued attention to keep up with current standards and to provide functional learning spaces for children. More than half of Northside schools are older than 20 years, and some were originally built as early as the 1950s and 1960s. In the district's 64-year history, all 115 schools have been constructed with bond funds. Last fall, a 250-member Citizens Bond Committee, made up of citizens just like you, looked at enrollment projections, analyzed existing facilities, and recommended that the school board call for a bond election. The NISD Board of Trustees approved a bond proposal that asked the voters for $648.34 million to build 409 new classrooms and to make other major improvements and renovations to most Northside schools. On Saturday, May 10th, you will be asked to vote on School Bond 2014. It is a carefully crafted proposal that accommodates the addition of thousands more students, funds major renovations of libraries, cafeterias, and science labs at older schools, and replaces entire buildings. The school bond proposal also makes necessary upgrades to infrastructure systems like roofing, heating, and air conditioning. It also updates students' and teachers' technology and adds interactive whiteboards at elementary schools. Let's go through the major elements of School Bond 2014 and break it down into smaller pieces. The first element is new schools. This proposal is for 6 new schools, but only 5 would be funded through this bond. This proposal also asks for funds to design and engineer what will be Northside's 21st middle school, Callison Ranch Area Middle School. The district already owns the land next to the new high school, but the middle school would be built out of a future bond issue. The 6 new schools are all located in the explosive growth areas outside Loop 1604 and are expected to relieve many existing overcrowded schools. The new unnamed schools are FM 471 No. 3 Area Elementary School, Callison Ranch No. 2 Area Elementary School, Grossenbacher Area Elementary School, Rancho del Lago Area Elementary School, and Callison Ranch Area High School. In addition, the sixth school, Village at West Point East Area Elementary School, would be built entirely from savings generated from the 2010 bond and does not require any funding from School Bond 2014. Altogether, these new schools represent 409 new classrooms and cost $274.5 million. The next element of School Bond 2014 addresses future school sites. With about 40% of the district's 355 square miles still available for commercial and residential development, it allows Northside to acquire land now to build schools in the future. School Bond 2014 provides $21.25 million to buy land while it is still available, before it becomes more expensive and before developers build their subdivisions. This strategy has been successful before. In fact, the new schools being considered in this School Bond 2014 will be built on land purchased through previous bonds. School Bond 2014 is not just about new schools. NISD has always been committed to bringing older schools up to current standards. In fact, 55% of this proposal addresses new standards at older neighborhood schools. The next major element proposes additional classrooms at 2 existing schools at a cost of $12 million. The additions are 7 classrooms at Luna Middle School to alleviate expected overcrowding, and 10 classrooms at Allen Elementary School to replace long-standing portable buildings with permanent classrooms. The next major element, renovation and reconstruction projects at a cost of $170.97 million. And many of Northside's oldest schools will get significant upgrades. Fine arts facilities at 3 schools would get renovated. A new orchestra, band, and choir building at Pease Middle School, a new music room at Thornton Elementary, and a new auditorium building at Holmes High School. Aging buildings at Glen Elementary and Rayburn Middle School would be replaced, along with the replacement of front offices at Boone and Glen Oaks Elementary Schools. Some special education classrooms would be renovated at Clark and Jay High Schools and Pease and Neff Middle Schools. The ag facility at O'Connor High School would get a new shop and additional animal pens. Libraries at Stinson Middle School, Esparza, Glen Oaks, Knowlton, and Timberwild Elementary Schools would be completely renovated, and the Marshall High School library will be reconstructed. 6 schools will get bus-covered walkways. They are Zachary and Pease Middle Schools, and Boone, Linton, Scobie, and Mary Hull Elementary Schools. Energy-efficient windows would be installed at 8 schools: Allen, Colonies North, Glen Oaks, Helotes, Powell, Braun Station, and Glass Elementary Schools, and Neff Middle School. The Paul Taylor Fieldhouse will see renovations necessary to meet the Americans with Disability Act, as well as other renovations to update this aging facility. The Northside Activity Center would see an expansion of an overcrowded meeting and staff development space to serve the training needs of a growing number of teachers and staff. The football fields at Taft, Warren, Holmes, and Jay High Schools will be renovated, and the turf at Gustafson Stadium will be replaced. The Northside Auditorium will also get some pool improvements, and all high school and middle school locker rooms would be air-conditioned, and the Neff Middle School gym would be renovated. Equipment such as the geodesic dome at 71 elementary school playgrounds will be replaced to meet new safety standards. Northside cafeterias serve 112,000 meals a day and almost 20 million meals every year. School Bond 2014 would renovate 7 older school cafeterias. They are Marshall and Clark High Schools, Leon Valley, Cody, Braun Station, Timberwild, and Knowlton Elementary Schools. An additional food warehouse is proposed to handle the 10,000 trucks a year that move refrigerated and non-refrigerated food products to all 115 schools and save annual rental costs that are currently incurred. The science labs at Rudder, Stinson, and the 2 alternative middle schools would be renovated to provide a safer, larger workspace for students. As any homeowner knows, you can't have a house without a roof, and mechanical systems must run efficiently and safely. In Northside, we believe that safe, well-maintained facilities enhance the learning opportunities for students. School Bond 2014 invests $89.84 million district-wide in new roofs and waterproofing for schools, and makes other replacements and renovations to chiller, boilers, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning systems around the district. The proposal also calls for the system replacement for the 36-year-old Clark High School. This proposal also addresses energy controls, plumbing, lighting, cabling, paving, drainage, flooring, and school tennis court resurfacing. The next major element is safety and security at a cost of $8.28 million. Now, previously, bonds were authorized to install digital video surveillance systems at all Northside schools and all school buses. This bond proposes to upgrade fire alarms and intercom systems, as well as add or replace site fencing to many schools. Also, more secure classroom door hardware would be installed so classrooms can be locked quickly in case of an emergency.
59, need you to make 168 Bob Lewis Elementary.
The communication system for the Northside Police Department would be upgraded to provide improved communications with all area law enforcement agencies. A pilot for an innovative security lobby is currently being evaluated at Ellison Elementary, and if successful, would be installed at up to 30 elementary schools, with the goal to install them at all schools. These bullet-resistant outer lobbies would allow for credentials to be checked before a staff member would allow anyone access into the school. The next major element of School Bond 2014 is technology at a cost of $47 million. Technology plays a significant role in instruction, and this proposal would provide more computers and mobile devices for student and staff use. $32.8 million of this proposal will continue the 5-year replacement cycle of classroom and lab computers. This proposal also calls for $2.8 million for the installation of interactive whiteboards in all 3rd through 5th grade classrooms, all 1,700 of them district-wide. Operational technology will also be addressed. $15 million is for infrastructure projects like servers, routers, and other equipment. This also includes wiring, cabling, wired and wireless network infrastructure, and system modernization throughout the district. With over half of Northside students riding school buses, it's our responsibility to get all 65,000 of them to and from school safely every day. While most of us don't drive our cars for 15 years, that's the lifespan of a Northside school bus. Northside retires school buses after 250,000 miles on the road. Some buses are held in reserve for an additional 4 more years to meet peak demands. School Bond 2014 would buy 129 new buses at a cost of $15 million. 92 would replace aging buses, and 37 would be added to the 800 bus fleet. More students simply means more buses. Some school districts choose to outsource the management of their bond programs. NISD does not do so for 2 reasons. One, we have found it's less expensive than hiring outsiders. In this case, we will invest about $9.5 million, which represents about 1.5% of the total bond. The second reason, there are more controls of the bond program since NISD employees manage the initiatives, not outsiders.
Yes, we have.
At any one time, there are dozens of school projects at various stages of construction or design. These funds go to support the professional bond management team, as well as the cost of selling bonds in the marketplace. And now that you've seen the proposed projects and their associated costs, it's easier to understand the $648.34 million price tag of School Bond 2014. And before we talk about what this means for you, let's talk about why school districts hold bond elections. Homeowners borrow money in the form of a mortgage to finance the purchase of a home. A school district borrows money in the form of bonds to finance new schools and renovation projects. Both are repaid over time, but in order for a school district to sell bonds, borrow money, it must go to the voters for approval. By law, bond funds may not be used to fund daily operating expenses or salaries. Bond funds may only be used for the projects previously described. So what will School Bond 2014 cost the average Northside homeowner? The average home in Northside is valued at $164,615. Assuming that there is no increase in appraisal value, property owners would see no tax increase until 2015, beginning with a slight property tax increase of $1.81 a month. When bond payments hit their peak in 2019, the owners of an average home in Northside could see their taxes rise by $14.31 a month. Note, senior citizen property taxes are frozen and would not be affected.
I invite you to take the time to learn more about School Bond 2014 and about the challenges facing Northside. We need to continue to provide new classrooms to accommodate future growth in the district while also upgrading and maintaining our older schools. That's what the 250-member Citizens Bond Committee recommended, and that's what this school bond proposes. You have the opportunity to make your voice heard. I hope you take time to vote on May the 10th. Thank you.